Lovely Stitchcraft, and today I'm going to show you how to make the knit look-alike crochet ribbing using the double slip stitch. This ribbing is going to have a perfectly even edge and it's going to look like the knit stitch. This ribbing is very elastic, which means you can stretch it out and it returns to its original form very nicely. Now for the materials, I will be using a size 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm using Acacia Hobbii yarn. This yarn is a weight 3, which is a light yarn. I will also be using a tapestry needle, scissors, and a stitch marker. Let's get started. First, we'll make a slip stitch to put onto our crochet hook. So I'm just making my slip stitch here, inserting my hook and pulling that tight. Then I'm going to chain 11. This is because I want my ribbing to be 10 stitches across, so I have to put that extra chain on the end so I can turn back. Now this is where our double slip stitch comes in. It's similar to a half double crochet, but we don't pull through on the last part. I'm going to be working in the back loops here, so I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the second back loop from my hook, and I'm going to pull up some yarn. Now instead of yarning over again like a half double crochet, I'm just going to pull that yarn right through those two loops on my hook. So let's do it again. Pull that yarn through, and just like a slip stitch, but I've got this extra loop, this is a double slip stitch. This is how it works. It's fairly straightforward, but it can be a little bit hard to get the hang of it. So I'm actually putting my index finger of my left hand right behind the stitch that I'm completing so that I can guide my hook between those two loops that are on my hook. It can be a little bit difficult to get your hook all the way through, so just turn your hook under and pull it through the best you can, and eventually you'll get the hang of it. So I'm going to do this double slip stitch all the way down for a total of 10 double slip stitches. Once I've got those, I'm going to chain 1 and flip my work like I'm turning the page of a book. Just going to flip that work right there. I'm going to perform this first double slip stitch like a normal stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook into the first stitch here, pull up a loop, and pull that loop through the two loops on my hook. Now I'm going to be working in the back loops of these stitches, and this is going to create the ribbing. So I'll yarn over again, and just like in the first row, I'm going to pull up a loop and pull those through the two loops on my hook. I'm going to complete 8 double slip stitches in the back loop of my row here. Now that first one I did through the whole stitch, and now I'm working 8 in the back loops. And so once I'm complete with this, I'm going to get to the end again, and I'm going to do just a normal stitch with the double slip stitch. So let's work 2 more in the back loops here. We've got 1 and 2. And now I'm on my 10th stitch. I'm going to stick my hook through the whole stitch there and do my double slip stitch, chain 1, and turn. My double slip stitch in this first stitch and the last stitch of my rows is what makes my ribbing so even all the way across. I'm working those double slip stitches in the back loops only of all of my rows, but only in the middle 8 stitches. So if you wanted to make your ribbing longer, you would follow my same pattern, except you would have more of these double slip stitches in the back loops of your pattern if you made it longer, or less if you made it shorter. Again, you stick your hook through the whole entire stitch and you perform your double slip stitch in that place. And then you chain 1 and turn as if you're reading a book. And then you repeat that pattern as long as you would like your ribbing to be. So I'll do it one more time here on camera for you, and that's it. That's this entire pattern. You just repeat it as long as you need the ribbing to be. It's okay if you mess up a little bit, not a problem. It's always fixable. And what's nice about having these regular stitches on the ends is that you're less likely to drop or gain a stitch as you're working. And then when you've decided that you're all finished with your ribbing, chain one and pull that tight, and that's it. This ribbing is really nice because it's really stretchy, it's very even, and it creates that knit-like design. So on the front here you can see my knit stitches are making V's, and if I flip it over, then this is the wrong side of the work and the V's are inverted. Well, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial and you make some nice ribbing. Happy crocheting!